Whiskers. Shh, shh. It is me, Luna, your magical night traveling cat, and my whiskers are tingling with magic tonight. Come curl up close. Luna has traveled through starlight and moonbeams to bring you something special. A story about a girl named Alice and the most curious afternoon of her entire life. Tonight, we are visiting a place called Wonderland, a place where white rabbits check pocket watches, where cats can vanish into thin air, leaving only their grins behind, where impossible things happen every single moment. But here's the secret, sweet one. Wonderland is not far away at all. It is closer than you think. Sometimes, all it takes is one curious moment, one rabbit hole, one choice to follow where wonder leads. If you are ready to tumble down rabbit holes and discover impossible things with Luna, let Luna know. Tap that glowing subscribe button and ring the bell so Luna can find you each night. Leave a little like to keep the magic bright. These small acts of magic help Luna travel to more dreamers just like you. Now then, dear heart, take a soft breath in. Feel yourself settling deeper. Let your shoulders relax. Your hands go soft and loose. Close your eyes if you have not already. Can you feel it? You are beginning to drift, floating gently through warm, soft clouds, drifting down, down, landing in a sunny garden that smells like summer. There is Alice, lying in the grass, and there, just there, the white rabbit, racing past with his pocket watch swinging. The rabbit cries out in his squeaky voice, oh dear, I shall be too late." And just like that, the adventure begins. Alice lies in the grass while the world moves slowly around her, as if everything is half asleep. Bees hum their lazy song in the warm air, and clouds drift by as if they have nowhere important to be. Then she hears it, a soft pitter-patter, pitter-patter across the meadow. Alice sits up straight, because hopping toward her is a white rabbit wearing a tiny blue waistcoat with shiny brass buttons that wink in the sunlight. A golden watch chain dangles from his pocket like captured sunshine. And what makes Alice's heart skip with wonder is that he is talking. The rabbit pulls out his watch with soft pink paws and cries in his squeaky, worried voice, oh dear, I shall be too late." He tucks the watch back while muttering about the Duchess being absolutely furious, and his little nose twitches with anxiety. Alice rubs her eyes and blinks and looks again. But the rabbit is still there, still talking, still checking his watch with those delicate pink paws, still wearing that smart little waistcoat. She whispers to herself that rabbits do not talk, and rabbits do not wear clothes, and rabbits certainly do not carry golden pocket watches. But this one does. The rabbit hops closer, so close that Alice can see the worry in his bright pink eyes and hear the gentle tick-tick-tick of his golden watch, and even smell the faint lavender scent clinging to his waistcoat. The rabbit squeaks about his whiskers and his ears because there is no time at all, and he turns and hops quickly toward the old oak tree. Alice scrambles to her feet, her heart beating faster with excitement. She calls out, asking the rabbit to please wait, but he does not wait. He reaches the tree and dives straight into a large hole at its base, disappearing into the darkness below. Alice runs after him, her bare feet flying over the soft grass, while warm air rushes past her cheeks. She reaches the tree and kneels beside the hole, gripping the rough bark. It is quite dark inside, and quite deep, and the rabbit's voice echoes up from far below, still worried about being late. Alice peers into the darkness, where the earth smells rich and damp, like the forest floor after rain. She thinks she will just take a peek, so she leans forward, a little closer, just a little more. The edge crumbles like cake under her fingers, and Alice tumbles forward with a little cry of surprise that turns into wonder. Down she falls into the most extraordinary journey you could ever imagine. But it is not a scary fall, not at all. It is slow and dreamy and gentle, like floating through honey, like drifting through clouds, like being a dandelion seed caught on a soft summer breeze. Down, 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 Alice falls with her blue dress billowing around her like flower petals, and her hair fanning out like she is underwater. The rabbit hole glows with warm golden light that makes everything feel safe and dreamlike. As Alice floats gently past, she sees the strangest, most wonderful things. A jar labeled orange marmalade sits on a shelf. A clock ticking backwards. A painting of a cat, and the cat winks at her. Books with curious titles stitched in silver thread. How to Fly Without Wings, The Art of Impossible Things. Down she falls, and the air smells like old paper and fresh cookies and something magical that does not have a name, like the smell of starlight. Soft music drifts up from below, tinkly and sweet like a music box winding down, and Alice's eyes grow heavy because the gentle falling makes her feel so peaceful. And then, soft as a whisper, thump, Alice lands on a pile of leaves so soft and dry, they rustle like whispers and smell like cinnamon and autumn all mixed together. She looks around, and what she sees takes her breath away. Spread before her is the most extraordinary hallway, stretching in both directions like it goes on forever. Golden lamps hang from the ceiling like glowing pears, casting warm, honeyed light. The walls are papered in midnight blue with silver stars that seem to twinkle, and everywhere, absolutely everywhere, doors. Tall doors reaching up to the ceiling. Tiny doors no bigger than a book. Doors painted ruby red and sapphire blue and emerald green. Some have golden handles that gleam like treasure, while others have silver keyholes that wink like little stars. Alice tries door after door after door, but every single one is locked tight. At the end of the hallway stands a little three-legged table made of glass, and on top sits a tiny golden key, small as a whisper. Alice picks up the key and tries it in the big doors, but it is much too small. Then she notices a little curtain on the wall, and behind it, a door so tiny it is no bigger than a loaf of bread. Alice kneels down and tries the golden key, and oh, it fits perfectly. The lock clicks open, and when Alice pushes the door open, she gasps. Beyond is the most beautiful garden she has ever seen. Fountains splash in sunlight. Flowers bloom in rainbow beds. Trees are heavy with golden fruit. The air smells like roses and honeysuckle and summer itself. Alice wants to go through more than anything, but the door is far too small. She can barely fit her head through. She sits back up, feeling frustrated. And that is when she notices a little bottle on the table that was not there before. Around its neck hangs a label with the words, "Drink me," written in beautiful curling letters. Alice checks to make sure it is not labeled poison, and when she sees it is safe, she takes a tiny sip. The moment the liquid touches her tongue, oh, what a flavor! It tastes like cherry tart and custard and pineapple and roast turkey and toffee all mixed together. Alice drinks more and soon finishes the whole bottle. Alice feels herself shrinking, getting smaller and smaller and smaller, like a telescope closing up. Down she goes until she is only 10 inches tall, just the right size to fit through that little door. But when she tries the door, her heart sinks. It is locked again, and she left the golden key on top of the table, which now towers above her like a mountain. Take a gentle breath with Alice now, soft and slow. Everything will be all right. In Wonderland, when one door closes, another always opens. Alice notices a little glass box on the floor with a small cake inside. The words "Eat me" are written on it in currants. She takes a nibble, and suddenly she is growing, stretching, getting taller and taller until her head bumps the ceiling. Now she can reach the key, but she is far too big to fit through the tiny door. Alice begins to cry, and because she is so very large, her tears are very large too, falling like raindrops and forming puddles on the floor. But even tears are magical in Wonderland, and something wonderful is about to happen. Then she hears that familiar pitter-patter and sees the white rabbit hurrying back, now carrying a fan. Alice calls out to him, but the rabbit is so startled by this giant girl that he drops his fan and scurries away. Alice picks up the fan and fans herself. As she does, she feels herself shrinking again, getting smaller and smaller until she is only about 2 feet tall. She takes a step and slips, splash, right into the pool of tears she cried when she was 9 feet tall. The water is warm and salty, just like tears should be, and Alice swims through it with her dress floating around her. She hears splashing nearby and turns to see all sorts of creatures swimming with her. A duck, a dodo, a lory, an eaglet, and several other curious birds and animals, all swimming together through the tears. They all swim toward the shore and pull themselves out, shaking and dripping. The mouse suggests they dry themselves with a boring history lesson, but nobody gets any drier. Then the dodo announces the best way to get dry is a caucus race. He marks out a race course in a sort of circle, and everyone begins running whenever they want and stops whenever they want. After half an hour, everyone is quite dry, and the dodo shouts that the race is over. The creatures gather around asking who has won, and the dodo announces that everybody has won and all must have prizes. They decide Alice should give the prizes, so she hands out candies from her pocket. But then they realize Alice has not gotten a prize. So the dodo presents her with her own thimble, and everyone cheers. After the ceremony, the creatures wander off one by one. Alice is left standing alone, wondering what to do next. The hallway seems quieter now, more peaceful. Just as Alice catches her breath, everything around her shifts and changes the way things do in Wonderland. And suddenly, she is standing in a peaceful garden where something wise is waiting. In the center of the garden sits a giant mushroom, and on top sits an enormous blue caterpillar. He is smoking a long pipe, and smoke drifts up in lazy rings that float away like cloudy bracelets. He looks very wise and very calm. The caterpillar asks Alice who she is, and Alice tries to explain that she hardly knows anymore because she has been so many different sizes today. She was one person this morning, but now she has changed so many times she does not feel quite like herself. The caterpillar does not seem surprised. He sits there peacefully, smoking and thinking. After a long, quiet moment, he tells Alice something important. One side of the mushroom will make her grow taller, and the other side will make her grow shorter. Before Alice can ask which side is which, the caterpillar crawls away into the flowers, his voice floating back through the air. One side will make you grow taller, and the other side will make you grow shorter. Alice breaks off 2 pieces from the mushroom and tucks them in her pockets. After some careful experimenting, taking tiny nibbles first from one piece and then the other, she manages to bring herself back to her normal size. As she stands there feeling more like herself, she hears an extraordinary sound drifting through the trees, like singing or laughing or both. Curious as ever, Alice follows the sound, and what she finds is perhaps the most peculiar creature yet. There, sitting on a branch and grinning from ear to ear, is a cat with soft gray fur and bright green eyes that sparkle with knowing. This is the Cheshire Cat, and his grin is wider than any grin has any right to be. Alice asks which way she ought to go, and the cat replies in a voice smooth as silk. That depends a good deal on where you want to get to. They talk in circles for a bit, the way conversations go in Wonderland. And the cat tells her that in one direction lives a hatter, and in the other direction lives a March hare, and both are mad. When Alice protests that she does not want to visit mad people, the cat says, "Oh, you cannot help that. We are all mad here." Then something very strange happens. The Cheshire Cat starts to disappear. First, his tail vanishes, then his body, then his legs, then everything except his grin, which remains floating in the air like a magical smile with no face attached. The grin hangs there a moment longer, then slowly fades away until there is nothing left but leaves and shadows. Alice decides to visit the March hare and soon comes to a house with a roof shaped like ears. There, under a tree, she discovers the strangest gathering she has ever seen. At a long table sit three figures. The March hare, with wild eyes and twitching whiskers. The Mad Hatter wearing a large top hat with a price tag stuck in it. And between them, fast asleep with his head on the table, a plump dormouse who snores softly. When they see Alice, they cry out that there is no room, though there is plenty of room really. Alice sits down without waiting, because she has learned that in Wonderland, if you wait for things to make sense, you will be waiting forever. The tea party is the strangest gathering Alice has ever attended. The March hare offers her tea, though there is not any tea. The Mad Hatter asks riddles that have no answers. Why is a raven like a writing desk? He wonders aloud. And when Alice tries to solve it, he tells her that meaning what you say is not at all the same as saying what you mean. They tell her that Time himself is angry with the Hatter, so now it is always 6 o'clock, always tea time, which is why they keep moving around the table to find clean cups. The dormouse sleeps through most of it, occasionally murmuring strange stories about sisters who live at the bottom of wells made of treacle. After a while, Alice grows tired of all the nonsense. She stands up and walks away, and as she does, the world grows quieter around her, softer, more peaceful. Alice walks through a rose garden, where roses bloom everywhere in shades of white and cream and palest pink. But as she walks closer, she sees three gardeners who are actually playing cards, flat as paper, and they are painting the white roses red with long brushes. Alice asks why they are painting the roses, and they explain nervously that they planted a white rose tree by mistake, but the queen wanted a red one. And if the queen finds out, one whispers, she might be rather cross with us. Just then, a grand procession enters the garden. Soldiers march in neat rows, then royal children, then guests in fine clothes, and finally, the king and queen of hearts. The queen is grand and rather bossy, with a crown that sparkles and a voice that booms. When she discovers the painted roses, she shouts in a voice so loud it echoes across the garden. Off with their heads! But here's a secret about the queen. She shouts and fusses and stamps her feet like someone having a tantrum. But it is all just noise and bluster, like a thunderstorm that rumbles and grumbles, but cannot really hurt anyone. In Wonderland, nobody takes the queen too seriously. Alice quickly hides the gardeners in a flower pot, and they are perfectly safe. The queen turns her attention to Alice and asks if she can play croquet. Alice says yes, though she suspects the queen's version might be quite different. And it is. The balls are live hedgehogs who curl up at the worst moments. The mallets are live flamingos who twist their necks around. The hoops are soldiers who keep moving to different spots. Alice thinks this is the most difficult and confusing game she has ever tried to play. The queen storms around making a fuss, but Alice notices something curious. Despite all the shouting, everyone is still there, still playing, still perfectly fine. It is just how things are in Wonderland. All noise and nonsense, but nobody gets hurt. After a while, Alice grows tired of the impossible game. She takes a soft breath, feeling calmer now. Everything blurs and changes like watercolors running together, gentle and dreamy. And suddenly, Alice finds herself somewhere entirely new. Take a peaceful breath with Alice now. In and out, soft and easy. Everything is safe. Everything is magical. Everything is exactly as it should be. Alice is in a grand courtroom with high ceilings like a cathedral. The king sits on a throne wearing his crown and trying to look very important. The queen sits beside him, still looking bossy, but more interested in her tarts than anything else. The jury holds all sorts of creatures with slates and pencils. The white rabbit stands holding a trumpet. The trial is about stolen tarts. Someone stole the queen's strawberry tarts, and the knave of hearts stands accused. The trial makes no sense at all, where witnesses say things unrelated to the tarts. The king makes up rules as he goes along, and everyone argues about nothing in particular. Then the white rabbit calls Alice as a witness. Alice has been growing during the trial without noticing, and when she stands up, she is quite large. She accidentally knocks over the jury box with a gentle bump. "Oh, I am so sorry," Alice says, and she carefully picks up all the creatures and puts them back, making sure everyone is comfortable. The king asks what she knows about the tarts, and Alice says honestly that she knows nothing at all. They begin arguing about whether nothing is important or unimportant, which seems rather silly to Alice. The king announces that anyone more than a mile high must leave the court. Alice refuses politely because that is not a proper rule since he just invented it that very moment. The queen cries out, "Sentence first, verdict afterwards." Alice has had quite enough of all this backwards nonsense. She stands up tall and says clearly and firmly, "Stuff and nonsense. The idea of having the sentence first. You are all being rather ridiculous." The queen starts to make another fuss, but Alice suddenly understands something wonderful. She looks at them all, the king and queen, the soldiers, the jury, the knave, and she sees them for what they really are. "You are nothing but a pack of cards," she says, her voice strong and sure but kind. "Nothing but pictures painted on paper. You cannot really hurt anyone at all." The cards hear this and they know she is right. They rise up, all 52 of them, lifting into the air like leaves in an autumn wind. But they are not angry. They swirl around Alice gently, red and black, hearts and spades and diamonds and clubs, spinning soft as feathers, light as dreams. Alice reaches out, and the cards feel like flower petals against her fingers, soft and friendly, as everything begins to blur, to fade, to drift away. Softer and softer the world becomes, quieter and quieter, until everything is peaceful and still and safe. Alice feels herself floating, rising up through clouds of warmth and light, back toward home, back toward herself, back toward the waking world. Alice opens her eyes slowly and finds she is lying on the soft grass under the oak tree. Her head rests on her sister's lap, and warm sunlight filters through the leaves above. Her sister is gently brushing leaves from her hair, saying, "Wake up, Alice dear. What a long sleep you have had." Alice sits up slowly and tells her sister, "I have had such a curious dream." She tells about the white rabbit, about falling down the hole, about growing big and small, about the wise caterpillar and the grinning Cheshire cat, about the mad tea party, about painting roses red, and about the trial where the cards rose through the air like dancing leaves. Her sister gives her a kiss on the forehead, warm and soft, saying, "It was a curious dream, certainly, but now run along because it is nearly time for tea." Alice stands and brushes grass from her dress. As she walks toward home, she thinks about her dream. She can still smell the roses, still hear the riddles, still see the grin floating in the air. She checks her pockets and finds two small pieces of mushroom, slightly damp and very real. Alice stops and stares at them, then smiles a small, secret smile. She looks back at the oak tree, and for just the tiniest moment, she thinks she sees a flash of white, a rabbit in a blue waistcoat checking his golden watch. But when she blinks, there is nothing there. Perhaps some dreams are real, or perhaps real things sometimes become dreams, or perhaps it does not really matter which is which. And with the mushroom pieces safe in her pockets and wonder safe in her heart, Alice runs home to tea, knowing that the best adventures are the ones that stay with you long after you wake up. And that is Alice's adventure in Wonderland, dear one. She followed her curiosity down a rabbit hole and fell into a place where nothing made sense and everything was magical. Through it all, she never stopped wondering, never stopped being curious, never stopped being kind and brave. That is the real magic of Wonderland. Not the talking animals or the magic potions, but the curiosity and wonder, the belief that impossible things might just be possible after all, and the kindness to help others, even silly playing card gardeners who paint roses the wrong color. Wonderland is always there, you know, not far away at all. It lives in your imagination, in your dreams, waiting for you whenever you close your eyes. Now then, sweet one, let your body sink deeper into your soft bed. Let your breathing become slower and slower, like gentle waves whispering onto a quiet shore. So peaceful, so calm. Feel your eyes growing heavier, so heavy they want to stay closed. Feel your arms and legs becoming soft and loose, like you are melting into warmth, into comfort, into peace. Everything is safe. Everything is warm. Everything is exactly as it should be. As you drift away into sleep, perhaps you will find your own wonderland. Perhaps you will meet your own magical creatures. Perhaps you will have your own impossible adventures. But whatever you dream, it will be gentle and safe and filled with wonder. Luna is here beside you, keeping watch through the night, purring softly while you sleep. You are not alone. You are loved. You are drifting now into the softest dreams. And if you loved Alice's adventure tonight and want more magical bedtime stories, ask the grown-ups to tap that subscribe button and leave a gentle like. It helps Luna find more dreamers like you. But that is for tomorrow. Right now, there is only sleep, only peace, only dreams. Softer now, quieter, like a whisper fading into silence. Sleep, dear heart. Let yourself float away on moonbeams into peaceful dreams. May your sleep be deep and restful, and may you always stay curious and kind and brave, just like Alice. Good night. Good night. sweet one. Sweet dreams until the morning light. Good night.